is that he likes to get clipped and almost wakes him up. And let's take a look at the rules, Christina.
No standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. The fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. Only the referee can stop the fight. And in case of an accidental accidental foul, we will go to the scorecards after the 4th round.
Thank you very much. And there is Sebastian Fundora. And to his left is Samson Lukowicz. Samson Lukowicz is the man that found Manny Pacquiao, Sergio Martinez, David Benavidez. When it comes to looking for talent, Samson Lukowicz is certainly up there in boxing as one of the best talent finders in the sport.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, and he found himself a nice prospect. I mean, God, he probably had to look up high at 6'7", 6'6" for the towering inferno in Fundora. But look, he's matching
opening matchup here in Las Vegas, and here's Jimmy.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and we welcome you to the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada, as Fox Sports Pay-Per-View and ESPN Plus Pay-Per-View present a big night of boxing brought to you by Bloodshot, starring Vin Diesel in theaters March 13th, along with proper number 12 Irish whiskey, the finest, the tastiest, the smoothest liquid gold in the world. Introducing our 3 judges scoring this bout from ringside, we have Max DeLuca, Glenn Feldman, and Steve Weisfeld. All right, fans, here we go. 10 rounds of boxing in a battle of super welterweights in the ring. Introducing to you first on my right, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black trunks with white trim, joining us from Sydney, Australia. He weighed in at 153 pounds, a 2016 Olympian. He is undefeated at 6 wins, no losses, 4 wins coming by way of knockout. Introducing the undefeated Daniel Drops Bombs Lewis. His opponent across the ring is Robert Byrd.
Okay, gentlemen, I gave you instructions in the dressing room. I remind you now, when I tell you stop, what that means is stop whatever you're doing and give me a clean break. Protect yourself at all times and obey my commands at all times. Now, anything on the band and above is good. If it's on the band and above, it'll be good. Anything else is low. Gentlemen, let's do this.
Yes, apropos words from Robert Byrd. Let's do this, and let's start off this significant night for boxing. Sebastian Fundora, 6 feet 7 inches tall. He is a tall order for that man. Daniel Lewis, as the super welterweights begin the evening here in Las Vegas.
A top-ranked fighter versus a PBC fighter. I mean, hopefully a tale of what's to come here with making this mega event possible. Daniel Lewis, a top-ranked fighter, and Sebastian Fundora, PBC.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And you know what? It's great to see that both entities in a variety of different established to conventional, talking about Daniel Lewis. Fundora trying to keep Lewis at the end of his punches to get more leverage behind his straight left hand. There's a nice left uppercut by Fundora. Trying to close the distance is Lewis, though.
Yeah, good right hand inside by Lewis. But the only time that Fundora seems to be getting caught is when Lewis is able to close that distance. When Sebastian's been able to stay on that stick, stay on this jab, he's had more success, and he lands a right hand right there.
Also, one thing about Sebastian Fundora, do not be surprised if he tries to mix it up on the inside. That seems to be something that he relishes, even though he has such a significant and height advantage over his adversaries. Some head movement now from Daniel Lewis, and I think that'll serve him well, Christina, so that Fundora doesn't have an easier target to connect upon.
Yeah, because he's going to have to kind of stand right in front of him to try to get inside and land those shots like he's talking about to the body. But right now, Fundora's kind of having his way in this first round, being able to tag him and time him when he comes inside, as Lewis finally lands some good punches there with the right hand.
Nearing the end of our opening round between Sebastian Fundora and Daniel Lewis as we begin the night here in Las Vegas. Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury 2, still to come.
It's a whole different challenge, different level, and he's a southpaw. He has, some experience against southpaws, and he spent some time in camp with Terrence Crawford. Crawford fights a lot of the time in southpaw, but I mean, we're not talking 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" with the shoes on.
Yeah, absolutely, you're absolutely right. You're looking at guys that are about his size, a little bit taller than him. And now Fundora unloads a left. It's a nice left uppercut. Fundora likes to use that left uppercut and gain a lot of leverage behind his punches. Last time Fundora was in the ring, he had a draw. What a big left uppercut. And you're starting to see some swelling underneath the right eye of Daniel Lewis. Those left uppercuts have been finding the home, but look at Daniel Lewis go.
And he's almost just kind of pawing that jab out there as Fundora, using it as a rangefinder, as some blood has come now from the nose of Fundora, but then just to set up that left hand out of that southpaw stance.
Sebastian Fundora trying to maintain his distance. Daniel Lewis clips him with the right.
Another one, 2, 3.
And Fundora, they both hook. Blood coming from the nose of Fundora. A little bit of a welt underneath the right eye. Look at this work by Daniel Lewis as he's walking down the taller Fundora.
He hit him with a couple right hooks to set that up, and then downstairs to the body, then back up. So really nice work here. Good exchanges. This is turning into a firefight early here, Ray.
They are banging here between one another inside the squared circle.
Stop.
Fundora, you see his blood on his face. Both men have dished out some punishment to each other as we near the conclusion of the second.
And that left uppercut from Fundora had getting back to the stick, back to the jab, where he had success early in round 1 and the first half of round 2. Daniel Lewis has got to find a way to get back inside.
Lewis with the right uppercut of his own, a sweeping right hook by Fundora. And there's a straight left. They both are letting the leather fly here, Christina.
Yeah, and the right hand left hook has been a nice combination for Daniel Lewis that has landed. He should, as he sticks a right hand to the body right there, but some really good body work, and that was part of the game plan. His coach, Graham Shaw, should be pleased.
Just over the halfway mark of the third round as Daniel Lewis and Sebastian Fundora battling, a right hand snapping back the head of Sebastian Fundora. Fundora is one of those guys, Christina, as you look at him, he likes to put himself in precarious positions, and I think that makes him for such an exciting TV fighter because you never know where you're going to get out of him.
Well, yeah, and he's kind of shown different things in each of his fights. That's why I said he kind of has the advantage in terms of the variety and the way he wants to fight, because sometimes you see him box and work off that jab. Other times you see him shrink down to 6'4", 6'2", and get in there and bang southpaw. And I haven't fought very many southpaws, and it was kind of weird trying to adjust to fighting a mirror image of myself. I'm used to fighting orthodox fighters, and to your point of fighting 10 rounds, Daniel Lewis, he has only had 6 professional fights, only gone the distance once back in 2019, July, 10 rounds. So let's see, the longer this fight goes, if conditioning could be a factor.
Well, Daniel Lewis has had, you pointed out what he's trying to do in his career. He has stayed active with 6 fights in his first 9 months as a pro. So, I mean, he is not letting up whatsoever. It's like he turned pro and said, all right, I want to go right for the top of the mountain.
Well, and that comes from him taking some time off after his Olympic Games in 2016. I mean, he took 2 years off. He bloomed up to 235 pounds in those 2 years off. Just in 2018, he was up to 235. So I think to stay mentally focused, and he's back to being in the best shape of his life.
Totally agree. Both men look terrific inside the ring. Robert Byrd better watch himself. He doesn't want to get bowled over by Sebastian Fundora.
Oh,
nice right by Fundora.
Yes.
We're starting to see some of the work from Fundora on the face upon Daniel Lewis, a welt outside of his right eye, underneath his right eye, some bruising, some swelling from Daniel Lewis.
And some blood out of the nose, I think nose and mouth, or just the nose of Fundora. So both of these guys looking like they've gone 10 already, and it's only round 4, right?
Absolutely. They are earning their paychecks. The one thing as a fighter, you want to be able to inflict some damage, win or lose, upon your opponent. There's a right on the top of the head of Fundora.
And I think one of the hardest things, too, when you're fighting a taller guy for Daniel Lewis is a lot of your power is generated from your base, from your legs. And he almost has to get up on his tippy toes, you know, to land that right-hand flush against the taller Fundora. And that takes away some of that power from your base, being able to sit down on your punches unless you're working to the body.
Well, there was a big left hook that connected for Daniel Lewis. But as you pointed out, yes, it's almost like he has to jump like shooting a jump shot, but
right.
It's a jump punch in many aspects.
And when you do that takes away from some of your power.
Yes, as you alluded, and a guy is trying to close the distance in Daniel Lewis, although he is nowhere near the level of boxer that Tyson Fury is.
Yeah, this round has been pretty close. I felt like Daniel Lewis had a good round there in the 4th, but this one's kind of been back and forth. Little tough to score some of these rounds here, so we'll have to see as we're kind of halfway through.
I would not want to be Max DeLuca, Glenn Feldman, or Steve Weisfeld, the judges in this contest, and I believe the mouthpiece is out for Daniel Lewis. Robert Byrd has it in his hand.
Good catch, indeed it is, and just waiting for a break in the action here.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Robert
Time
Byrd.
in. Let's go.
They make sure to put another mouthpiece, rinse it off, and get the mouthpiece in the mouth of Daniel Lewis.
He almost handed it right back to him. He's like, hey, can I get
exactly,
a
yeah, a little bit. It's like, I don't think I want to put that even though it's on the ground.
I'm sure he's not really thinking about his dental hygiene at the moment,
Yeah.
but I thought about it.
No question about it. As blood streaming from the nose and the mouth of Sebastian Fundora, you see that welt underneath the eye, the right eye of Daniel Lewis, a right hand over the top. You know, they were quite confident in Sebastian Fundora as he sprays Daniel Lewis with a straight left.
Get off his neck. Let him go, let him go. Free up your hands.
Christina, this is the kind of fight where you're going to see who is going to break out of the pack from being a prospect to possibly climb.
Yeah, I would say climbing the ranks. I mean, there's some really good talent at 154 pounds, and especially Sebastian does have twice as many fights as Daniel Lewis is. He's only been a pro for 11 months, but when you're in camp and you're sparring with guys like Terrence Bud Crawford or Danny Jacobs, you're getting that real.
Christina Poncher here in Las Vegas as we open up tonight's telecast with the emphasis on the super welterweight division in this matchup. You know, the head movement of Daniel Lewis hasn't been as much in this round or the past few rounds, Christina, as he did in the early part of the fight.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's still working on that. That was a point of emphasis when we spoke to him in the fighter meetings. Like, I got to do better at moving my head. And also the jab. I mean, it sounds crazy to say for a guy that has had over 150 amateur fights, but he's still learning to work off the jab and even establish the jab. And I really haven't seen too much of it. So he's got a second half of a fight to try to get that working for him. Maybe we'll help him close the distance a little bit more and get inside.
That was an astute point on your behalf, because people think that, you know, you have to, you know, bob and weave your way on the inside, but you should be able to jab your way on the inside, because the jab is a pestering mechanism to be able to get on the inside and land that power punch that you so covet.
And it's just, unfortunately for him in this matchup, it's a tough fight to really work on that. It's a tall order, both literally and figuratively, against Fundora to try to work on establishing that jab. But
Fundora, who guides his son. There's a right hand for Daniel Lewis. And for Daniel Lewis, he's trained by Graham Shaw, former trainer, former IBF and WBA middleweight champion Daniel Gill as well. So an experienced corner for Daniel Lewis.
And he's really well known. Obviously, being an Olympian, you have your country behind you in that sport as an amateur, and they've followed his career down under, his vast amateur career, which started nearly 10 years ago. Only a pro for 11 months, but rumor has it he's one of the most avoided fighters down there. People just are not answering the phone when it comes to stepping in the ring with Daniel Lewis.
Blood now streaming from the left nostril of Daniel Lewis as it's on his forehead as well. As he gets clobbered with a straight left from Sebastian Fundora.
No, I think that hurt him a little bit as he kind of staggered and tried to hold on to Fundora. Fortunately for him, only 10 seconds left in the round.
Sebastian Fundora, Daniel Lewis mixing it up. Fundora, but Fundora is not allowing Daniel Lewis to do it often in the fight.
You're exactly right. And, you know, it's just, I think that it could be frustrating at times for a fighter like Daniel Lewis because, I mean, look, how do you really prepare to fight a guy this tall? I mean, you work on things. Oh,
there's a big left uppercut, and it might have hurt the hand of Fundora. Fundora shook his left hand. Who knows if there might be an exchange in that moment? My goodness.
I think the two of them and all of us went, whoa, for a second. Everyone just kind of paused on that shot, and then Daniel Lewis returned with the overhand right, but wow, he shook it out there for a moment right after he landed that punch, did Fundora, so
I mean, I
hopefully
wonder,
he's okay on that.
Could be a sprain. You know, we hope that it's not broken, but Fundora is throwing that left. There's that straight left, and you see the work of Fundora's left hand is literally all over the face of Daniel Lewis.
Yeah, left hand to his right eye.
And
there it is again.
Uppercut as well. It has just been a sledgehammer. There's a right hook by Sebastian Fundora.
And Daniel Lewis was doing a really good job going to the body earlier too, and I feel like he's, you know, hasn't been as relentless in his attack to the body here in round 6 and in round 7.
Well, Lewis has slowed down considerably, Christina, and that is probably because of the power that he's tasting from Sebastian Fundora.
And Fundora is not really like what I would call a knockout artist, right? But you can just see as he continues to develop. He's only 22 years old. He's still getting his quote-unquote man strength, right? And making 154 pounds at 6'7" is like really easy for him. He's like, I eat during the week. It's not like I struggle to make, this is my natural weight. He's like, I had wings and pizza this week. So I was like, really? You maybe need to get a nutritionist. But he's like, no, I'm away from home. I'm just saying, like, I can eat like that and have no problem making. He said I might only come into the fight, you know, at 160.
Oh, that's unbelievable. There's a straight left for Fundora.
Because I thought he would struggle to make this weight. Obviously, I haven't had a chance to work with him. And he's like, no, the fighter, the heart that he has, he'll continue to throw it, hurt or not.
Well, Sebastian Fundora, certainly a warrior, as is Daniel Lewis. And Lewis closing the distance. Now, this is where he's got to go to work. In this moment, a right hand backing him up. Another right hand by Daniel Lewis.
Yep, and it's a chopping right hand. He kind of throws it at this weird angle where it's like a hook and an overhand right at the same time. But those have been effective punches with him when he can get inside.
Some body work now by Daniel Lewis, and that seems to have gone by the wayside in the past few rounds as he brings it back here in the 8th.
Yeah, perhaps that was a point of emphasis in the corner. Maybe they were listening to us because I was like, he kind of abandoned that body work for a few of those middle rounds, but back at it in the first minute of this round.
Well, you pointed out in the fighter meetings that Daniel Lewis said, I got to chop the tree down. And how do you do that? Well, you have to attack the body and not go head hunting all the time against someone who is down. And how do you do that? Well, you have to attack the body and not go head hunting all the time against someone who is as tall as Sebastian Fundora. Offering that loss and history here inside the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Tyson, Holyfield, so many greats have made their way. George Foreman won the world title, the oldest heavyweight champion in history, when he knocked out Michael Moore here in 1994, if I'm correct, or 1995. I stand corrected. Under a minute to go here in the 8th round between Daniel Lewis and Sebastian Fundora.
Fundora with that left hand, chopping left hand, is just pitter-pattered the face of Daniel Lewis the last minute here. I mean, he's kind of just having his way with that, and then Lewis will get in a good punch or two, but I haven't seen Fundora in any kind of sort of trouble or anything yet, despite some flush punches landed by Lewis.
Well, for Daniel Lewis, it has been one punch at a time, maybe two punches at a time. He has not really put together combinations. Fundora has been the one that has a little bit more rapid fire and just exchanges and sits down in his 3 or 4 punch combinations.
There's some good work there from Lewis, but Fundora answers right back.
Sebastian Fundora, 22 years of age, 6 feet 7 inches tall, taking on the 26-year-old from Australia, Daniel Lewis, both men unbeaten as we head towards the 9th. Well, he's starting to pull away, in my opinion, in these middle rounds, Christine, as we head towards the final 2 rounds. The first few rounds were up in the air in some aspects, and then the middle rounds, Fundora started to take control with this pressure and maintaining his distance and using that straight left. And Daniel Lewis, again, he's coming in with that power punch and not setting things up with the jab.
Yeah, he really tried to make a point of emphasis, like, I've been working on my jab, I've been working on my jab, but it's something that he's, as a professional, has still got to develop, and it's really...
We have coming up on 75 seconds remaining in the 9th round. This is a physically taxing fight on both, too, Christina, and they are still in their 20s, and, you know, it is a grueling matchup that we are witnessing.
Yeah, and I think for both of these guys, they'll be better, win or lose, from going through a matchup like this. I think even more so for Daniel Lewis, because this is, you know, kind of a one-off situation, fighting a guy in your weight division at this size, but a good experience. He's getting some rounds in. This is only his 7th professional fight in Fundora. He's using his reach and his jab more in this fight. You've covered a lot of his fights, but I feel like he's doing a good job boxing on the outside, mixing it up, but getting back to what he can do with that jab.
Well, he is really trying to dictate his reach and maintain the distance from Daniel Lewis. And there have been times in previous fights where he allows guys to come on the inside so he can mix it up. That hasn't been the case much against Daniel Lewis.
Fundura's career, I mean,
told him, hey, look, you need to come out and fight with a sense of urgency, because we may be down by a significant margin on the scorecards.
Or we may be close, and you need to get a definitive round here in the last one. And, I mean, this is his style, to just get in there and let his hands go. So if he can do that and still kind of keep that guard and protect his defense, he's hopefully for his team, give himself a chance.
Well, Daniel Lewis from Australia, quite popular with the land down under. You know that they're watching this. I believe it's Sunday morning over there, and he unloads a right hand upon Fundora as a minute has elapsed here in the 10th and final round.
Blood coming from the nose and mouth again of Lewis. I mean, it's been a tough fight. That mouse under that right eye has been there since about the 4th.
And Fundora has been bleeding from his nose occasionally in the earlier rounds, and it has even moved itself here to the 10th and final round with the blood. Both guys are earning their paycheck here tonight.
They are, and I like how comfortable Fundora is kind of fighting off that back foot, moving around, even though he's been the one, you know, along the ropes in this fight in terms of fighting along the outside. He seems very, very comfortable.
Approaching the final minute of this super welterweight matchup. Both men are undefeated. Daniel Lewis 6-0, Sebastian Fundora 13-0-1. That only draw came in his last fight against Jamante Clark in Minneapolis at the end of August. This is their first fight of the year for both Daniel Lewis and Sebastian Fundora, and so far it has been an entertaining scrap, Christina.
It has, and if this ends up going Fundora's way, Daniel Lewis, you know, shouldn't get too down or too upset on himself, because when he looks at his record, he's like, okay, yes, I took a loss here, but it was against a guy that was 6'7", kind of an anomaly of a weight class, a learning experience.
I mean, it's almost impossible to get sparring for a guy 6'7" and weighs 154.
Yeah, it's great to go spar Terrence Crawford and learn some things about technical ability, and him being a southpaw most of the time anyway, but he's not anywhere near even 6 foot tall. So
A right hook for Fundora to end what was a terrific matchup between two fellow unbeaten prospects.
Have losses, so you got to challenge yourself, touch up, and learn from it.
And Deontay Wilder wants to challenge himself against that man, Tyson Fury, later tonight. Tyson Fury is so relaxed, he's calm. There is one of his promoters, Frank Warren from Queensberry Promotions, and the Towering Inferno, Sebastian Fundora, with the Mexican charro hat. That is a tribute to his Mexican heritage. A Mexican cowboy is how they go ahead and explain it. Waiting. And here's
10 rounds of action. We have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Steve Weisfeld scores the bout 97-93. Max DeLuca sees it 98-92. And Glenn Feldman scores the bout 99-91. All three in favor of the winner. And still undefeated, the Towering Inferno, Sebastian Fundora.
So Sebastian Fundora elevates his record to 14-0-1. Daniel Lewis with the first blemish upon his dossier. Christina, your thoughts on that decision?